Okay, welcome back everybody for a exciting afternoon. We're going to start off with John Blowski here, KB2SCS, EcomScs and GateWaySCS AX25 packet radio email. John, it's all yours.
Thank you, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank Taper for allowing me to be here today and presenting these two pieces of software that I've written called EcomScs and GateWaySCS. EcomScs is a email client AX25 for AX25 packet radio. Anything that you can do with your email client on your internet, like Outlook and such, you can do with EcomScs. EcomScs can send and receive attachments. Any file on your hard drive can be sent or received as an attachment. EcomScs sends and receives the attachments by encoding it into base 64. Base 64 is the same encoding and decoding that your email client does to send and receive attachments. Once a file is encoded into base 64, the file is now ANSI text. EcomScs transmits its emails using the MIND protocol. In other words, EcomScs is sending and receiving internet-compliant emails. What you're seeing here is the main screen of EcomScs, the main form. And over up in here is where you click on to create emails. The next one over here is how you save emails. Yeah, EcomScs, the next one is for the address book. EcomScs has a fully integrated address book. If you're using Outlook, Express, and/or the Vista mail program, you can output a comment-delimited file and then import it right into EcomScs. The next one is for forwarding. The next one up there is for replying. And the next one is for the send and receive button. The screen here, that is the listing of your inbox. You've got, as you can see, inbox, outbox, sent, and trash. So by clicking on each of those, you'll be then listing in this screen your emails. By double-clicking on them, you can read them and/or edit them. The next screen down here, that's anything that's sent and received to your packet TNC is shown on that screen. The final lower box is anything that you type in there and hit the enter key will be sent to your TNC. You can put TNC commands. You can put, if you're connected to someone else, you can do keyboarding with this. In other words, EcomScs not only is a email client for packet radio, it is also a fully capable packet terminal program. On this screen here, what you're seeing basically is the same screen. The format's the main form screen, but it is now full screen. All the forms in EcomScs are fully sizable. When you make every form, if you make any form full size or full screen, then the text in that screen gets bigger. That's to help my tired eyes be able to read the things, so that's why that feature's in here. What you're seeing in this screen here is the connecting the EcomScs station connecting to a WinLink node. What EcomScs does is it does all the commands automatically. Once you hit the send and receive button, then whatever it connects to, all the commands are sent automatically and received and decoded by EcomScs. In other words, it's fully automated and no user interface. No user had to do anything after that. So what you're seeing here is the commands being given, asking if I have any mail on this node. And as you can see, I have no mail on this mode, so it automatically sent the disconnect command, the B that you see there. The down below that is the connecting to a FBBBBS. When you hit the send and receive, that also is all automatic, and so it's showing that it's connecting to it at this point. This next screen shows that It's checking again to see if there's any messages, all done automatically. Again, in this case, there aren't any messages. So again, it automatically sends the B command and disconnects from the BBS. Now, this is the mail create page. This is what you'd see when you create mail. Again, it doesn't have to be full screen. So up in here you have the normal to address, the address that this email is going to be sent to. And over here you have the address button. So as you can see, the message is to me, myself, and it only has my call sign there because in my address book, the KB2SCS is the alias for the BBS email address. If I already have the address in my address book, all I have to do is put the whatever alias I came up with. It could have been John, it could have been Harry, it could have been anything, and it would automatically put the email address on the email for me. And of course, like any email, you have a subject line, and of course it says test. And then over here, of course, is the body of the email. And below, let us hope we never witness a silence of the hams. That line and every line below that is a signature. EcomScs allows you to have a signature file, which the signature will go at the end of every your emails, again, just like your internet email client. Up here first is the attachment tab. If you're going to add attachments, you would click on that tab, and that would allow you to add your attachments to the file, to the email. Down here at the bottom, it says personal, it says bulletin, it says WinLink, and it says gateway. Here you're telling what service you want the email to go out on. So personal is for BBSs. Of course, bulletins are for BBSs. And WinLink and gateway, of course, is self-explanatory. Here you're telling EcomScs what method do I want to transport my email on. Over here you have the send to out box. By clicking on that, the email doesn't get sent anywhere but your hard drive, the file, the directory called outbox. The whole idea of this is, since it's all automatic, it connects, it disconnects, it does everything it's got to do, and everything is done offline. This way, I don't know how many people here are into emergency communications, and by the name Ecom, obviously, I'm designing this hopefully for emergency communications. It can be used, of course, as daily, and that's, of course, would be a good idea, so you'll get very familiar with how to use it. But the reason why is I don't know again how many people have ever done packet radio during an Aries drill or an emergency. Invariably, you have the EOC has a mailbox, let's say, a regular TNC mailbox. And invariably, you'll have a voice net control station. And the next thing happens is you'll hear the net control being asked by somebody who's trying to connect to the packet BBS on the mailbox, could you tell so-and-so to get off? I can't get on. He's still on, he's not off. Tell him to disconnect. And this way, by doing it all offline, by not only, and therefore connecting and disconnecting all in one shot, you're only using your resources the least amount of time that you need to use them. Also, the fact is, also, as you notice, this is only, in EcomScs works mainly with packet BBSs, WinLink nodes, gateways. So I've eliminated someday it may work with packet mailboxes, and actually it will, but mainly it's designed to work with those three things so that during the emergency, you're using the resources that are out there and you're not tying up the EOC's TNC with being used. The EOC can now go to the BBS and get its messages when it's convenient for the EOCs to go there. So again, at the bottom, you're telling it which way you want where you want the message to go to. Okay, so now when you hit the send and receive button, let's say you had, I don't know, you could have hundreds of messages, thousands of messages in your outbox. But for this example, let's say you have 10 BBS messages, 10 WinLink messages, and 10 gateway messages. So you now click on the send and receive, and EcomScs is now asking you, well, which email message do you want to send? And you tell it by telling it which system to connect to. So if you click on BBS, obviously you're going to connect to the BBS, and only the 10 BBS messages will be sent. It will not send the WingLink messages to the BBS, for example. And so here we are. Now we're connecting that message that I sent to myself for this demonstration for personal was sent, therefore, it's for a BBS. So now you're seeing it connecting to the BBS. Again, it connects to the BBS, and it comes up and says that there's no messages for me. Then right after that, EcomScs knows that it has a message in the outbox waiting, and it knows that this message is for a BBS transfer. So it automatically sends to the BBS the SP command. There's my call sign again, and the hierarchical address. The address book automatically put the hierarchical address in, and the next line is from the BBS. It says routing from WP to actually itself, in this case. And you could obviously have any hierarchical address and go to any BBS that you want to go, go to this BBS, and then it'll send it, then the BBS system will send it to the correct BBS. The next line, basically, of course, is it's asking me to enter the title for the message. In other words, the subject. EcomScs automatically sends the word test. And after that, it's telling you the BBS is telling you to, type in your message. Well, I don't have to type my message in. It's already there. So it EcomScs automatically starts sending the message with the from, the date, the to, the subject, test, and then that message ID is part of the MIME protocol. Again, you're sending a totally MIME protocol type email. And here is, that's why it says MIME version 1.0 and so on. And then, of course, the body of the email is sent, and then the signature. And the /ex is a BBS command, and that's automatically put at the end of every BBS message. And, of course, when the BBS sees this /ex, it knows it's done with this message. So at that point, it would disconnect, it would send the B command and disconnect. On this slide, what I'm showing you is me reconnecting to the BBS. Again, now I have a message there because I just sent one to this BBS to myself. So I've connected, and now, of course, the BBS says, you have one unread message. And so at that point, EcomScs sends the RM command, which is read mine. So if you had one message on the BBS, you had 5,000 messages on the BBS, it'll download all the messages to you at that time. And all the messages will automatically go into the EcomScs inbox. And so the rest of this, as you can see, is the BBS is the one that is coming up with all this. And the next page shows you the body of the email coming down. And the next page is what it shows is that the BBS is telling me that BBS sent the end of message, and then EcomScs then sends the kill mine KM command, BBS command, which then, of course, kills all your messages on the BBS. And then EcomScs sends the B command, and you automatically disconnect from the BBS. Again, this way, during an emergency, you're not tying up the BBS, typing up your message, and then sending it, and then typing up another message and sending it. You're connecting, doing what you got to do, and getting the heck off. Here I'm showing the message now has come in. It's up here. It's in my inbox. I've double-clicked it and then did the screenshot. And so what you're seeing is the mail reading part of the EcomScs. The form starts off at that size. You could drag it, make it bigger, or you could make it full screen. And, of course, when you do that, then you're able to read the text a lot nicer if you have old eyes like I do, and it gets bigger. So, again, like any email client, it has the from, the subject, and the body of the email. Down here is where you would have, if you had any attachments, they would be listed. And you would double-click on the file, and that would bring up a save dialog box, and you could then save the file to anywhere on your hard drive. Over here is the print command, so that's kind of obvious. It'll print the email to your default printer. And over here is the arrows. So if you click on the down arrow, you'll read your next email, and so on and so on. If you click on the up arrow, you go the other way. Again, just like any email client does. EcomScs also has NTS messages. These form here looks very much like an ARL NTS message. It is and it isn't. ARL NTS messages do not allow to have punctuation. A period, for example, would be the word dot if it's .com. If it's a period at the end of a sentence, it would be an X. It would become, and so on. And since this client is designed for packet radio, I felt there was no reason not to allow punctuation. To me, it seemed dumb in packet radio to put the word dot where where a period was, or an X where a period was. And there's actually a third thing that a period could be, and I forget what it is right now. And again, not like the ARL NTS messages, the punctuation in ARL NTS messages counts in the check. In EcomScs, the punctuation does not count in the check because a period is just a period. So that's the difference. The way you fill out the form, you hit the OK button, and a dialog box comes up asking you where you want to save the NTS message to, and you just save it on your hard drive. Actually, there's two directories if you want to save them there. One is format messages in, the other is format messages out that EcomScs sets up. So you could send it there or save it any place else on your hard drive. It doesn't matter. Then the way you send it is by sending it as an attachment. And so you send it as an attachment, and then EcomScs, the gentleman who's running that, receives the email and the attachment, and then he could then double-click on the attachment and save the message to any part on his hard drive again. And then when he reads the email, or I should say he saves the attachment, he can then use the open command, save, and it'll then display in this form, and he can then read his NTS message. Okay, so at this point, before I get into GateWaySCS, first off, before I even say that, GateWaySCS and EcomScs are separate programs. You can use one or the other separately. But of course, GateWaySCS works in concert with EcomScs. So before, and the other thing I wanted to mention is that EcomScs and GateWaySCS are written in VBNet. And so they are using the Net Framework 2.0 or higher. And the disadvantage is that some old 386 laptop or desktop is not going to run either one of these programs. The advantage, though, is that XP or Vista, it runs just beautifully. Second of all, the setup program for these two programs is nothing more than a VBNet program. All it does is create directories and copy files. There is no change to your registry or any other part of your computer. So if you want to uninstall EcomScs or GateWaySCS, which I highly unrecommend, of course, you just delete the directories, and your computer has no idea that it ever had the programs on your computer. So now, before I get to GateWaySCS, are there any questions about EcomScs? Yes, sir.
I think it would be a useful enhancement to your radiogram style format to present an NTS equivalent check, not as something that can be modified, but as if you are going to translate in and out of the NTS world, here is what the check would be.
Okay, that's a good idea. I will do that. Any other questions and or comments about EcomScs at this time? Okay. GateWaySCS is a POP3 SMT packet radio to an internet gateway. Hardware, plain vanilla AX25 packet radio station, TNC, transceiver, TNC, and PC with the addition of an internet connection. Dial-up or full-time, both will work. The only thing is your ISP has to allow you to do SMTP and POP3. In other words, a web email like Hotmail is not going to work. The sending and receiving of internet emails is all transparent to the user. It is all done automatically without any user interaction. Okay, here we go. FCC now. Of course, I don't care about Canada. I don't care about Mexico. I only care about where the FCC is governing the radio waves. As per the FCC rules, is GateWaySCS legal? The sending of internet emails via amateur packet radio is no contest, because obviously, if you're doing an RF to the internet, a licensed amateur radio operator has to be doing it. Otherwise, he's illegal in the first place. The receiving of internet emails is a little sticky. GateWaySCS would send an email to EcomScs. It may have originated from a non-ham on the internet. This in itself sounds illegal, but no, it's not, since the way I have programmed EcomScs and GateWaySCS. GateWaySCS is set up to act just like a packet BBS does. All packet traffic is initiated by the ham operator at the EcomScs station. Since the ham operator at the EcomScs station is initiating all packet traffic, or all radio transmitters to transmit, and no non-ham is ever causing a transmitter to transmit, then I feel that this system is legal, according to as far as the FCC rules go. Yes, sir.
Who has the responsibility for the content of the email being delivered? When we were doing packet BBSs in the 90s, the first originating station carried the liability.
I'm not a lawyer, but I would say it's the same thing for this. In other words, on GateWaySCS, what happens is when after it does its POP3, therefore receives its emails from the internet, the emails are stored in call sign directories. And first you have the mail directory, then it's in call sign directories. So it's the to address has a call sign in it. And that call sign, automatically a directory gets made with that call sign. And all the emails for that call sign go into that directory. Emails for somebody else's call sign go into that call sign's directory. Anyhow, the point I'm trying to make is that all the emails are on your hard drive. Theoretically, you could look at these emails before they get sent via RF and delete the ones you feel are not legal.
You have to.
Yeah,
If you're the one putting it,
that's correct.
you're responsible. You've got to review them all to be sure that they're.
That's correct. Now, again, this system, I have designed it with the mind for emergency communications. So, yes, if you wanted to, you could run EcomScs. Well, that's no contest, but you could run that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and and you could run GateWaySCS 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But if you're going to do that, and not, in other words, not in a non-emergency situation, well, then obviously you're going to have to peruse these emails. If you're doing it during an emergency, yes, you still have to look at the emails, but of course the chances of them being illegal, type emails, business emails, and pornographic or whatever, are kind of lower. But yes, you still have to look at them, but there's going to be less of them for you to look at, and you can look at them rather quickly, I would think. Yes, sir.
Is there a way to not have them transmitted until they're approved?
Not at this point, no. Okay, so here's the main form of GateWaySCS. Up on the top here, you have the POP3 and SMTP window that lets you see your internet connection and lets you see the POP3 and SMTP commands going back and forth. Over here, you have what's ever sent and received by your TNC so that you can see who's connecting to the GateWaySCS and using it. And here is my EcomScs station connecting to the GateWaySCS station. And it is, yes, in this case, I'm sending an email to the Gateway station. It has already figured out that it does not have any emails for me. That's why it says QRN, I believe, my call sign and then QRN. If it had emails, it would say QST with a number. That would be the number of emails. That's just the protocol, so I know, so the two programs can talk to each other. So anyhow, so here it is sending the email to the Gateway station, and it's sending it. Note the from address where it's got my call sign and the hierarchical address. Just remember that for later. and it's sending it to my Optum Online address. Okay. And here it's just continuing doing that until it gets all done, and then it issues the command to disconnect and disconnects. Again, GateWaySCS works just like a BBS does, or I've programmed it that way. So as far as the EcomScs protocol, it just connects, does its thing, and disconnects, not tying up the station. So now I'm showing the email. This is what I'm showing here is the email that I received via the internet to my Pegasus mail client. This basically email that, sent to myself, RF, my EcomScs station. Every 5 minutes, GateWaySCS does a POP3 and SMTP correction. And if it finds emails out on your server, at your ISP, it then sends the emails to EcomScs and then deletes those emails. So what you need is a separate account for the GateWaySCS. If you used your regular email account, like if I use my KB2SCS at Optum Online account, what would happen is all my personal emails would get downloaded to GateWaySCS. And GateWaySCS would say, these aren't GateWaySCS emails, so it would not put them in the directories, and it would just delete them. And that, of course, would not be good. I'd lose all my personal emails. So you need most, if not all, ISPs allow you to have separate, it's one account. You're not paying for one account, but they allow you to have separate email addresses under that account. I call them email aliases. Maybe that's not correct, but that's what I call them. So I have one for EcomScs, I should say GateWaySCS, and so that only GateWaySCS emails go to that account, and I'm only downloading GateWaySCS emails when I have GateWaySCS running. Then what it does is, after it's done with downloading the emails, it does if it has anything in its outgoing directory, it'll output do an SMTP, and it'll upload your file to your ISP. And let's see, the reason I'm showing this is because under my signature, you see that what's under that are lines that get tagged to every email by GateWaySCS. It's done on the GateWaySCS station instead of the Ecom station, so you're not sending more stuff over packet radio AX25 than you have to. It says that this message was sent via amateur radio. If you'd like to know more about amateur radio, then go to the following URL, which of course is the ARL. Then it says, if you'd like to send a reply to this message, then just click on your reply button of your email program. And the reason why that works is because the from address. The from address, remember, had the hierarchical address. Well, now it's got the call sign, and it's got the EcomScs alias email account that I said you need. And so it's EcomScs at OptumOnline.net. So by doing that, when your person that you send the email to, ham or non-ham, hits his reply button, it's going to get replied to the EcomScs at Optum Online, which means that it's going to go, and when GateWaySCS does its POP3, it's going to download that email, and when KB2SCS connects again, it'll get the reply message. The other parts of this is no HTML, no business communications, no foul language, please no long reply, the thing where you have all of the previous email inside your email and you send it. No, none of, I'm asking for that to be small. And at the end I say, please adhere to these rules. The amateur radio license is at stake. A lot of those things there you'll know are not part of the FCC rules, but I figured if I lumped them all together and said that at the end, maybe the person will follow all of them then. And so what I'm showing here is the POP3 happening up on the top, where you're seeing that this email that we just read, I'm showing this out kind of out of order because obviously how did I get it before I sent it here, but here it is being sent. And so you're seeing the email being sent, and if it had attachments, you'd see attachments listed, and underneath, and that's basically what I'm showing on this screen. And okay, so why was GateWaySCS created? GateWaySCS was created to allow EcomScs stations that are inside the disaster area to be able to send and receive internet emails. Yes, inside the disaster area, the internet is down, but outside the disaster area, the internet most likely is working fine. So all that's needed is to be able to set up a GateWaySCS station outside the disaster area, and if the EcomScs station inside the disaster area can reach the gateway station outside the disaster area via RF, then you'll be able to send and receive emails with no problem. All of this presentation was done when version 001 was out. Since then, I have made version 002. And the new feature in version 002 of GateWaySCS is the fact that now you can use GateWaySCS without an internet connection. And that's what it says there. And then it says, so why the heck would you want to use a gateway program without an internet connection? That don't make any sense. The reason for that is because before version 002, or in other words, version 001, let's say during the disaster, you have the gateway station set up outside the disaster, and it's connected to the internet, and you're happily sending internet emails in and out of the disaster area. But inside the disaster area, let's say when the disaster first starts, all the BBSs inside the disaster area are gone. They're not up yet. I know that the dedicated sysops will have them up as very fast as possible, but at this particular second or two, they're not. So you can then inside the disaster area at some nice high location, hopefully, you can set up a GateWaySCS station without an internet connection. And in that mode, GateWaySCS becomes a packet mailbox. There's no mail forwarding. It's not designed to replace all the wonderful BBSs that are out there. It's designed to be basically, like I said, in case the BBSs are down at the very beginning of the emergency. And so this way, you'll be able to then send emails from EcomScs to the gateway station that's inside the disaster area, and it will store those emails on its hard drive, waiting for whoever these emails are for to connect to it, and then can get their emails. Because before this, EcomScs would have had no way to send local emails and receive local emails. And by doing this, you can now have a tool that you can set up, come as you are, and who said that first, I wonder? And then set up your station. Okay, so here I'm showing version 2, and basically at the bottom of the screen I'm showing where you have a little box now that says Internet, and it defaults to being clicked. So when you first anytime you start up GateWaySCS, it defaults to being on the Internet. And on the next slide, the little check is gone. It's not on the Internet now, and we'll only do the mail storing, as I said. Okay, so where can I get EcomScs or GateWaySCS? Well, there's the web page, www.qsl.net/KB2SCS. One of the other nice things about doing the net framework, the files are very small, so it's very easy to download. How can I contact the author? KB2SCS@ARL.net. There's also on the QSL.net, there's a link to the EcomScs users group it's a Google user group that you can join if you like. And so I just wanted to mention that. So if you're interested about doing any of this, make sure you look at the users group and decide whether you're interested in doing that. So, questions?
I got a question and a follow-up. What happens when GateWaySCS is running and it loses internet for a while, stores up some local email? What happens when the internet comes back?
It would connect again and send the emails.
Okay. This has come up in the WinLink groups. If the internet is unstable and it comes up for a little while, then it goes away again, and it comes up for a little while and it goes away again, and that's not uncommon. When when it comes back up and it sends off the emails and the internet goes away again, you've lost your access. You sent off the emails, but you can't get them anymore. And it would be useful to have a toggle function so that, or a latching function, so that when you lose email, it stays off, or lose internet, it stays off the internet until a sysop determines that the internet is stable and then re-enables internet access automatically. So you don't get all of your emails disappearing into a black hole that suddenly closes again in a few minutes and you lose them.
Well, okay, I'm confused a little bit. You're saying that it's sending and then the internet goes down while it's sending, you're saying, or the internet goes down after it's finished sending?
After it's finished sending.
Well, then you haven't lost your emails. They've made it to the internet, and therefore they're going to go where they're supposed to go.
Okay, how about if I nail you after the talk and I can explain more?
Okay, fine. I'll be more than happy.
I think you have a really nice tool there,
Thank you.
the two of them. To touch on something you just mentioned a moment ago, we always plan for disasters. That's what we do. Unfortunately, we don't plan for disasters to propagate, and they normally do. Where I come from, fire country, there's no fire burning until my house catches, and then my gateway is lost.
Right.
And one of the things that would be nice is that since this is basically bringing together multiple points and concentrating them and sending them out on the internet, it would be useful that if it decided that the internet's not working, to forward it to another node that it knows is working, so that that communication is never lost and it's always finding a point to dump that information.
Okay.
You know, as things kind of fall apart, your communications link doesn't, and that would be a useful piece.
Okay, I agree with you.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you very much, and thank you again, Taper, for allowing me to be up here and do this.